Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Power Is Now VIP Agent Spotlight. My name is Eric Frazier. Today, I'm talking to David Crabtree. He is a seasoned real estate professional out of Templeton, California, broker owner of Sotheby's Homes and Ranch, Sotheby's International Homes and Ranch. And man, we just learned his story, folks. I mean, from very humble beginnings to just achieving some significant milestones that I think would be in anyone's life. You know, owning a development company, owning a clothing business, owning his own real estate franchise at Sotheby's, owning a bank and selling it. I mean, David, I'm not sure what else you have planned, but it's going to be big. I can just tell by what you've done already. So he's with us here today, folks, to talk about his business and about the market. And again, David, thank you so much for joining me on the Powers Now VIP Agent Spotlight.
Thank you, Eric.
When we left off with your background, and one thing you said earlier in part one was about the people. You're still in the game because of the people you work with, the people you help. And so that leads me to this question. What is it that makes you so passionate about real estate? And where do you see, do you see yourself ever stopping?
I've been asked that a lot. At some point, I think life is going to change and, might take a different role in it. But, my passion is what I said. It's the people. I mean, I love doing it. I love, working with other agents. And, now I'm, to be honest, I'm older than the people I used to make fun of for being old. So I'm getting up there in age. But I look at that as kind of a neat spot in my life where, I've been blessed and fortunate, with some of the businesses, some of the, things that have come with that as far as, making good income and, acquiring assets, so forth. But now, using that knowledge that I've gained over almost 35 years of doing it I'm more effective. I am more able to help my clients, to problem solve, to work with other agents and give them strategy, give them, some of that mentorship of, hey, when had I known these things when I was starting out in the business or when I was in the business for 10 years, it was a game changer. And I don't see that ever going away. I think as long as you have that passion and you can, I think everybody out there needs a purpose. They need something to do and that they can be proud of. And when I go home at night and, been able to accomplish some of the things, I shouldn't say accomplish, because typically in my business, when something goes well, that means my clients have accomplished something.
Right.
And I've been the person that's been able to give the guidance and counseling and, help them put that together. And, a lot of times people will say, oh, you did great, or you did this. It's like, I really didn't. I took somebody else's pieces of the puzzle and I helped them put them in the places they needed to be. And when you look back at that, it's a sense of pride. It's a sense of accomplishment. You can take anybody in this world. You can take a homeless person off of the street. When you help them, there's a sense of gratitude. And, and that's something I'm passionate about as well. But when you help somebody that's a multi-millionaire accomplish something that they wanted to accomplish, it's still a sense of gratitude.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't matter the vantage point, of the client, right? It's what you're doing to have an impact on their lives. And what I appreciate the most about what you're saying is the humility that I sense you have in what you do. I've always believed that real estate professionals, are truly, the unsung heroes of this experiment called America, because we rely on them to help us make our dreams come true. And the biggest dream for most people is still home ownership. You mentioned earlier that you purchased your first home at the age of 19, and that's a rarity in and of itself. You beat me. I think I purchased mine and I was in 20 or 21. Did you have help? And do you remember, the whole process of buying your first home? And did that play a role in maybe how you help people today?
Of course it did. I mean, I think all of anyone's experiences in life become an asset to them if they're willing to use them. And for me, you know, buying that home early, you know, I would be lying if I said I knew what I was doing at the time, because I didn't. I just knew, I just had this burning passion and desire to want to own my own home. And, my friends and people I was around at that time, they thought I was crazy. The bankers that I talked to originally trying to get the loan thought I was crazy. They were probably right. I didn't make a lot of money. I maxed out my credit card to get part of the down payment. Got roommates to help pay the mortgage payment, and signed a stack of papers that at the time seemed like it was 12 inches thick. Did I read them all? No. Did somebody explain everything to me? Not particularly. Um, when I bought my second home a little more than a year later, right around another year later, I knew a little bit more of what I was doing. I paid more
Hmm.
attention and
Hmm.
figured out there's a process to this, and knowledge is power. And
Yes.
so then when I could go to someone else and say, hey, I can help you, when I got into real estate, I've done this before. I could take my experiences, use those as an asset to benefit them. And, that has been able to carry me through into all kinds of realms in the real estate world, because real estate is, not just limited to a house. It's property, it's office buildings, it's development projects, it's finance, it's like a spider web. And
Right.
for me, the passion is is climbing through that spider web and figuring out where it's going to go and how to piece it all together so that it holds together.
So, David, as a real estate professional broker, your office, does it mainly represent sellers as opposed to buyers, or what is the mix? Do you represent both buyers and sellers, and how many agents actually do you have serving your community?
Right now, I believe we have 13 agents total in the office, and we're a full service brokerage. We work with buyers, we work with sellers. We work with clients acquiring commercial property as well. And like I said before, I'm a firm believer that we are in the people business, and the other person that walks in the door, or calls on the phone or sends you an email, they're concerned about them.
Right.
And our job is to figure out what their needs are and serve those needs.
So many agents, put themselves in a category. They'll say, I'm a listing agent or I'm a buyer's agent. And with the recent NAR settlement, not too many agents even want to be buyer's agents. Um, what is your view of the NAR settlement? And are you actively engaged with working with buyers? Do you anticipate any further developments or changes that can make working with buyers more difficult than it has been in the past?
Yeah, I've been having this discussion with real estate agents for many months now because they were in a panic about, life's going to change and, buyer's agents are going to get, you know, basically discounted. And I kept telling all of them, I don't think that's the case. I think it's a case where we as real estate professionals have to, you know, explain our worth, what we do. And I don't expect anybody to pay me if I don't add value to their life. But, in answer to your question, do I work with buyers and sellers? Yes. Am I actively working with buyers? Yes. How does that process work? If I'm the listing agent, it's pretty self-explanatory. Somebody will call and they'll ask me to, meet with them, give them an assessment of the value of their home, ask how it's going to be marketed, typically want to know what kind of track record, you're applying for a job, and they want to know that they have a professional working for them. This is true now of buyer's agents. When they meet with a buyer, before it was, somebody wanted to see a home, agent would run out there, meet them for the first time, open the door and, pray and hope that it worked out. And now it's different than that. Before that buyer's agent can open the door for them, he has to have, what some agents are deeming an uncomfortable conversation of, you have to sign this agreement stating that you're going to compensate me in some form or fashion. Either you're going to write me a check for my professional services, or the seller is going to cooperate and pay all of that, my fee, or a portion of my fee. And so it's communication with the buyer and explaining what you're going to do for them and adding that value that they're comfortable paying for. I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable. If I were going to hire, and if I hire an attorney, if I hire a doctor, if I hire any other professional out there, I want to know, what are they going to do for me? If I'm giving them my hard-earned money, are they qualified to receive it? Am I getting value for what I'm writing a check for? And if, I don't think there's not a lot of people in this world that object to paying for value. It's now just explaining it in a format that people can understand, can relate with, and it's probably a good thing for our industry. We needed to do it, and now it's there. So this is the new reality.
David, I agree with you. And it's always been a question in my mind why real estate agents aren't compensated for their time in general. I believe this is the only industry where you can spend hours with people and your gas and time driving around from property to property, and there's zero commitment for them to do business with you, and there's no compensation for that. So this has really opened the door to for real estate agents to have the uncomfortable conversations, and that should have never been uncomfortable from the beginning. I'm not sure how we even started down this road where buyers don't pay for the service they're getting unless the seller is going to pay for it. I don't know how we got down that road because that doesn't exist in any other service or sales industry. Am I right?
Not that I'm aware of. I think there was tradition, and there's a lot of traditions in this country that have gone on, that doesn't mean they're right. It just means that that's the way it is. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, I think this is a positive. I think we're going to move in a better direction. I think it's going to require buyers to be, well informed. And I think it's going to make real estate professionals raise the bar.
Right.
And, quite honestly, and I've been a vocal critic of our industry to a degree, of saying that the barrier of entry is too small. That,
Yeah.
if you're out there counseling people on the biggest decisions they make financially for most people, that you should be qualified to do so. And you should have
Right.
knowledge. You should pay attention, because if you give bad advice, it's
Mm,
costly and it
mm,
hurts people. If
right.
you give good advice, it helps them. And that's, you have to look at all of those interactions with clients of from the standpoint of what's in it for them.
Right.
Because honestly, nobody cares about what's in it for me.
No.
You put your clients first, you put their needs
That's right.
first, and you benefit ultimately from it.
In fact, let's go there. A client calls you, they're looking to buy. How do you help buyers buy? What's the process in working with you? And then let's do the same thing for sellers. If I'm thinking about listing my home, what is the process by which you engage sellers? So we'll start first with buyers.
With buyers, first it's, usually a conversation over the phone, and,
Okay.
understanding what their objectives are, what their needs are, what they're trying to do, what the timing is, and then, talking them through the process. A lot of my buyers have done this many, many times, and they understand how it works very easily, and it's systematic to them. But our job is to, again, provide them with what they need, at the same time providing them what they want. I always say, it's more important to find out what somebody needs than what they want, because they usually match, but the needs are more important. Then explaining to them how this process works. You are going to be their agent. You are going to work for their best interest above all things. And in doing so, they're going to compensate you for your professional fees, for your time and knowledge. And you're going to sign an agreement that states that that's what's going to happen. And like all real estate contracts, those can be, modified, they can be canceled with everybody's consent, they can be changed. But you have to have a contract up front. Like I said, no different than hiring an attorney. You're going to have an agreement and a retainer, and you know what you're getting. And once you and your client, from a real estate standpoint, as a buyer's agent, have an agreement, you know what they're looking for. Your job is to do everything in your power to find that property for them, negotiate the deal for them. Once you're into an escrow, is helping them through the due diligence, title reports, financing, inspections, property deficiencies. When everything lines up and all the stars are aligned, and that usually takes some time,
Mm-hmm.
then the transaction closes. And if you've
Mm-hmm.
done your job right, you're nobody's going to dispute paying you for your time. They're happy to do it. And if you do it really well, you've formed a relationship that is, going to be there lasting for years and multiple transactions. And hopefully, all of the relationships that they have, friends, family, etc. That's how you
Right.
succeed in this business.
So, David, what are some of the things that you do specifically to bring exposure to people looking to sell? And, how is the market actually right now?
The market here is very good. This is an area that's become very desirable for people to live and to want to come to. It's known as a top wine region, worldwide. And the food, and the a client of mine, he's in that business, or hospitality, he calls it the F&B. The food and beverage scene in San Luis Obispo County is phenomenal. So you have that, you have the vineyards, just a quality place to live, not far from the coast. So our market is continuing to grow. You've got a lot of folks that are moving here, want to move here. And so when selling a piece of property, I tell all of my clients that I have listings for, it's understanding who our buyer is and marketing to that buyer. A lot of the buyers coming to this area are coming from Northern California and Southern California, Silicon Valley, Orange County, LA, etc. And so presenting the property in its best light is my job, is, looking at the property, giving recommendations to my clients of, things that need to be done before we go to the market, whether it needs, to be painted, whether we need to have a staging company come in, getting inspection reports ahead of time. So our deal, once we go into escrow, doesn't get retraded. Once we've agreed upon a price and that strategy, my job is to take it to the market. And that's a process. We will do, all the write-ups on the property to make sure that we've, articulated all of the top features of the property, location, size, architectural style, etc. And then we hire a professional photographer to come in. We do photography, we do videos, we do drone photography, aerial mapping, because the way that marketing is done today is not the way that it was done when I started in this business. Everything is very image driven. And if you're looking for a piece of property, those images have to be right. The write-up has to be right. You get one chance to make a first impression. And I've had clients many times say, I want to put my home on the market or my property on the market. Can you have it done by tomorrow? I said, I'm probably not your guy. I don't think I can. And they'll say, why? I said, because we want to make sure when we go live with this, it's correct. And in order for it to be correct, we have to get the property in its, the best condition it can be in. We have to get the best photography that we can get. We have to make sure that the write-up and the features are all, articulated correctly in write-ups. And, if there's a video or anything on it, that needs to be there. Because once we push that send button, my marketing plan, it's going to go to the local MLS. It's going to go to Zillow, Trulia, Sotheby's International, which goes to all of the Sotheby's offices around the world. It goes to the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal.
Wow.
Zillow,
So it's got to be right.
Yahoo, Google. I mean, we cast a big net. And, I've got a huge sphere of influence of past clients and, business associates and people that are in my personal database. It goes to them. It goes to all the other agents. If somebody gets that, when someone's looking for a home, they're, most people get a notification based on their search parameters. And if, pops up on their cell phone, they go, oh, new listing, great. If it has one picture or bad pictures, they simply swipe over it and they don't go back. So we try to do it right the first time, and it's more effective that way.
David, I appreciate the attention to detail, the thoroughness. And you're right. You only get one shot. First impressions are everything. So you will actually say no if the client wants their property, put up in a week and sold. Because you want to make sure that it's getting the proper attention that it needs. And it takes time to do all the things you've just mentioned. How long does it typically take from start to ready to list, uh, getting the property on the market, leveraging all the tools and resources and strategies you have?
Good question. And it really depends on the property, how prepared the people that are selling are. I have some clients that are, have done this before and they're very proactive and, they've done a lot of things to the property before they ever called me. So when that's the case, it's usually, the scheduling of the photographer. That's going to be probably the thing that takes the longest, getting those images, seeing if any of them need to be edited or changed, and then, getting that together. But the short answer, usually from the time somebody calls me to, and based on the photographer's schedule, we can usually be live and on the market within a week, 5
I
days
see.
to 7 days.
Okay. It just depends on the property and the seller and kind of where they are at.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do, I mean, paperwork, listing agreements, all that can happen within hours. But
Yeah.
again, it's the attention to detail that matters.
And then you're trying to get the highest price for the client, right? And so there may be some work that needs to be done, right?
Correct, correct. My clients have control of a lot of things. I have control of a few things.
Hmm. For those of you just joining us, we're talking to David Crabtree, and he's a real estate broker, owner of Sotheby's International Home and Ranch in Templeton, California. And we've been talking about his passion for real estate and how he helps buyers and sellers and what he does to help people get their home sold quickly. He's an extraordinary agent. And if you've missed part one, I want to encourage you to listen to part one and hear his backstory. And you'll get a better understanding of why he is who he is. David, before we end this segment, we want to provide your contact information for anyone who may be listening to the podcast or watching us on television if they're interested in buying or selling right now, because this is a good time to buy and or sell, right? With interest rates
It is.
recently coming down.
Yeah, no, it's a great time to buy, and I think the market's going to change, in my opinion, dramatically over the next coming months with interest rates coming down. But any of you that are interested in, having that discussion about buying a property or selling a property that you already have, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. You can come by my office at 412 South Main Street in Templeton, California. You can call me at 805-459-9261. That's my cell phone. Or the office, 805-434-9700. You're welcome to go to my website, davidcrabtree.net. And, if you reach out to me, I will get back to you. We will get in touch. So,
David, thank you so much for joining us today on the VIP Agent Spotlight. Folks, look out for more videos from David Crabtree as he talks about the market, about real estate strategies, a host of things here on the Power is Now TV network. He's a VIP agent. And as a VIP agent, he has incredible tools to help really be a thought leader in his community, from his magazines to the podcasts and TV shows. And we certainly hope that you will tune in and listen to or watch David Crabtree. You're listening to The Power Is Now TV. Please download our mobile app on your Android or iPhone under Power Is Now TV and watch more of David Crabtree's show, the David Crabtree TV show, and podcast. You can find the Power Is Now podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Look for the David Crabtree Real Estate Show. Also, I want to encourage you to subscribe to David Crabtree's Real Estate Magazine, in which he's going to be showcasing his own listings and other listings that may be in the market area. Great opportunity to learn more about the Central Coast and the David Crabtree Real Estate Magazine. David, again, thank you so much for participating in our VIP Agent Spotlight. We're glad you are a VIP agent, and we're looking forward to helping you be the thought leader you are in your community. Thank you for watching, folks. Remember, we are at our best and we maximize our success when we act now. The power is now.
The Power is Now magazines are the leading resource for real estate agents, mortgage bankers, entrepreneurs, and small home ownership businesses, providing leaders with business strategy information, resources, and tools through PIN, real estate, programming guide magazines. Stay up to the minute with real estate news and information from industry experts. Subscription is free. Sign up today. thepowerisnow.com. thepowerisnow.com.